So, something that Leo moons do is, normally Leo wants to be the star and the center of attention. But Leo moon just wants to be the star of their own life and be kind of like the most important part of other people's lives emotionally. And something that I think is really interesting is that they really, really admire other people who are intense Leo energies and who are reflecting that out, and people that are stars and power figures and leaders in their own field. Leo Moon will be sitting there and observing these people and learning from their power and taking in everything that they can to be stronger while still being out of the main spotlight. So don't count them out. They are there and they are strong, but they are learning and calculating how to be themselves, and that's something that takes time, and it really depends on where Leo moon is in your chart. And since I guess I can make this a longer video, I have my Leo moon in my 6th house. I also have my Leo Mars in the 6th house, but that's a separate thing. They do work together, but for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to be discussing Moon and Leo in the 6th, because this is an interesting one. And I think that it takes some time to understand because it's your 6th house. And so I'm like 24 and I'm really starting to get to closer to the 6th and 7th house parts of myself. And like the 12th house seems like I will be 36 and have my Saturn return, and that's when it'll complete itself. But anyway, so what I've learned about Leo moon in the 6th house is that you to feel nurtured, like, you really need to feel confident within the work that you're doing for the world. You want to be a good person. Having Leo moon in the 6th is you've got Cancer energy from the moon and Virgo energy from the 6th influencing the Leo energy. And what it turns into is that you really want to be someone that gives and does good stuff for the world and gives back to people. And you want the work that you're doing to be important and to mean something and be helping people. Like, if you feel like you're not doing something that is helping people, or serving the world somehow, or you're giving something positive from your personality and like with your emotional body and everything, like if you feel like you're not doing that, you're going to be really depressed, and you might not always realize that this is the reason. But if you're unhappy with your work life, and that's very typical for any moon in the 6th house, you really need to see how you're feeling about stuff. Like, in the terms of, do you feel good when you're in this kind of environment? Do you feel bad? How are you feeling all throughout the day? Because at this point, I'm pretty much in alignment with, or I'm getting into alignment more and more every day with this part of my chart. And when you have your Leo moon in the 6th activated, you will probably be in a place where you are your own boss, or you have the ability to express yourself creatively and people are supportive of that. Like, you need an environment that allows you to be yourself. Leo moon in the workplace needs to be themselves. If they are in a job description that makes them conform in any kind of way, like, this could be so many different things, probably most retail stores, because you have to dress in a certain way and speak and stand and present yourself in this very like strict way. And that's just from my own personal experience and what I've seen. Even if it's subtle, that's going to really hurt you emotionally. It's not going to feel good. And it's just going to bug you and drive at you. And Leo Moon will eventually break the fuck out. I know it's a little bit more intense for me because I have Mars here too. But if your Moon in Leo does not feel like it is being appreciated at work in the sixth house, it's really not going to feel good. You're going to feel really disrespected and it's going to hurt. And Leo can get pretty angry about this kind of stuff. Again, I know I feel like I'm channeling in my Mars accidentally. I'm not trying to. I just really want to talk about my personal experience with this placement. But you're going to get really angry and you're not going to be like poker face about it. Leo Moon in the sixth is going to be really real and authentically themselves, and it just kind of is what it is. They don't like being emotionally inauthentic. Leo Moons don't like it when people tell them what to do or how to act. Most Leos don't really like that. It depends though. They can be flexible, but like they want to just be themselves, really. And that's really important. So if you feel like you can't be yourself, or your coworkers have opinions that are so different from yours that it makes you feel like you're not being nurtured and you're not safe and you're not being cared for, then that's really going to be a huge source of emotional turmoil for you. So, Leo Moons in the sixth, if you're upset, you have to really look here because your moon's here. And there's a lot of different aspects to this. The sixth house is pretty loaded. That's just all work perspective and career level. But if you want to talk about it in terms of health, so your emotional health and your self-identity are really, really important on a day-to-day basis. Having Leo Moon in the sixth house is going to make you incredibly aware of yourself all day. And every action that you take, every little decision that you make, is going to be so deeply embedded within your persona and within your soul, and it becomes this really emotional encapsulating experience where you can be incredibly introverted and you are creating who you are in your own world and reflecting it back at yourself in this really analytical, logical way. And it's really, really interesting, at least from my perspective. So you need to be aware of emotional balance and stuff like that, because that's all really intense and great. But that's going to be something that you also deal with every day, is like, do I feel good? Do I feel confident? Do I feel positive? Do I feel happy? Like, that's the work that you're putting in. Leos want other people to be happy. They want to share their sunlight with other people and make them feel warm and happy and good. Like, that gives them purpose. That's like, oh yeah, this is why I exist. As a sun, to just give life and beauty and blah. Like, they just, you know what I mean? So in the moon sign, they, man, they just want to be loved, really. They just want to be admired. And it's going into more of a relational thing now, but like, they just want you to look up to them, and they want you to think that they're a good person, and they want to feel like they're doing a good job in the world. This is someone that's really self-critical. The moon, while it represents emotions, has something to do with the mental emotional connection that happens in your body, in the sense that where it's the same thing, in a sense of like neurological magnetics and electricity. Like, the moon rules a lot of that because it's so close to our planet, and it really has a lot to do with our biofeedback, and it's a really important sign. I want to do a whole like hour-long thing or plus about the moon, but I'm waiting until I get a better camera. Man, Leo Moon's in the sixth. Yeah. No, on a day-to-day basis, emotional health. Sorry, I lost my train of thought earlier, but I didn't want to just stop because I don't edit these. Day-to-day health. Yeah, you're going to be really aware of your personality and who you are, and like the fact that all of the decisions and choices you make directly reflect on your personality, how you feel about yourself, and your health and well-being. So you can be an incredibly picky person about what you allow into your environment and what you eat and what you watch, and you're almost really sensitive to it because you know who you are, because you've tried everything a million times, and sometimes you learn by mistake. Because Leo burns really hot and just wants to burn everything. And you kind of have to learn to contain it, right? Um, but anyway, if you just pay attention to this day to day, which you're doing anyway, but realize that you're doing it and you can relax a little bit. And it's fine. Like, this is someone that takes the perfectionist thing to a really hard level and uses it as a way to use self-negativity on themselves to feel emotionally bad, and then just have a cycle going on like that, and they get really addicted and stuck in this, if this is unbalanced, which most of the time we're born unbalanced, not in the sense that, like, you know how there's the Fibonacci sequence, right? And then there's just kind of like sacred geometry at a non-life level. I don't know if this makes any sense. If it doesn't, just bear with me. But if you look at the pictures of them, the way that the universe is structured is perfect. There are no mistakes in their numerical sequence. The way that life, to become life, and cells dividing and all of this and everything, the code that is derived from the original pattern. But it's one that makes mistakes, but then infinitely approaches perfection, which the first one does too. But so life is just infinitely evolving, and when you die, you don't lose projects, you just progress, you keep going, right? And it all reconnects in the end. But at the beginning of life, of physical life especially, you make mistakes. And that's part of growing and being a person, is you're not going to be perfect right off the bat. You've got to, like, figure your shit out, and you have to evolve, and then you get to a place where you almost can't tell the difference between you and God anymore, because you've achieved that. You know what I mean? Sorry, that was like a lot of high level information. If you're watching me and you have this placement, I suppose you needed to hear that. Yeah, I don't usually go that in depth about stuff, but anyways, this has been me freestyling about this sign for a bit of time now. If you want to support me, then I'm creating a lot of abilities for you to do so bear with me on that. Love you guys. Thanks.